That movie with the woman running half a mile through a rainstorm in heels, because that's where the bathroom was. The one with the crowbar and the speech about how at NASA the bathrooms belong to everyone. The one where a room-sized IBM computer gets outrun by a woman with a pencil and a desktop calculator. That was Hidden Figures, the 2016 film about Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mary Jackson. 3 black women working at NASA in 1961 who were doing calculations the engineers couldn't do themselves in a building where they put a colored label on the coffee pot so the others wouldn't have to share it. Taraji P. Henson played Katherine Johnson, the mathematician John Glenn refused to launch without. Octavia Spencer played Dorothy Vaughan, who ran her division for 2 full years before anyone would put it in her job title. Janelle Monáe played Mary Jackson, who had to appear before a Virginia judge just to sit in a classroom. They made you care about orbital mechanics. They made a bathroom feel like a civil rights battlefield. The whole thing cost $25 million and earned back roughly 9 times that. But the story behind the movie, what these women actually did, what Hollywood rewrote when nobody was looking, and what was happening behind the camera during the most famous scene, is more surprising than anything that made the final cut. Everything you're about to hear is real. Today we're counting down 15 weird facts about Hidden Figures you probably didn't know. Number 15, a film about discrimination hit a soundtrack irony. Gospel singer Kim Burrell recorded I See a Victory with Pharrell Williams for the Hidden Figures soundtrack. It charted. It was Oscar eligible. In December 2016, she and Pharrell performed it on The Tonight Show and The Today Show. She was booked to perform it again on The Ellen DeGeneres Show in January. Then on December 30th, a video surfaced of Burrell preaching at her Houston church calling gay people perverted with considerable specificity. Ellen DeGeneres is one of the most prominent gay women in American entertainment. Her response was a single tweet. Pharrell released a statement condemning discrimination without naming her. Janelle Monáe condemned it by name. The song never got its planned Ellen moment. A film about 3 women fighting discrimination had its soundtrack moment shelved because the person singing about overcoming discrimination was publicly discriminating. Number 14, the director, who chose Hidden Figures over Spider-Man. When his agent called on a Friday night, director Theodore Melfi was in the final stages of consideration for Spider-Man: Homecoming. The call came with a 55-page book proposal about 3 black female mathematicians at NASA. He read it over the weekend. Monday morning, he was out of Spider-Man. Nobody was racing to make Hidden Figures. The studio wasn't pushing. A director who hadn't had a major release in 2 years was voluntarily stepping off the most guaranteed payday in Hollywood to make a period drama about women most of the country had never heard of. Producer Donna Giglio later told The Hollywood Reporter that within a week of reading the script, Melfi was in her office saying, "Please let me direct this." Hidden Figures grossed $236 million worldwide, beat Rogue One at the box office in its opening weekend from 1,686 fewer theaters, and earned an A-plus cinema score in every single demographic. Spider-Man: Homecoming made $880 million. The gap between those 2 numbers is the whole story. Number 13, Glenn Powell was broke when Hidden Figures found him. After Chris Pratt passed on the role of John Glenn, Powell got a shot. He turned down more lucrative TV work that year to take it and later described himself as dead broke. Hidden Figures was essentially his only job. Then he watched an early rough cut before the music, effects, and sound design had been added, walked to the bushes on the Fox lot, and was ill. He told a podcast, "I thought I ruined this movie. All these women put in these great performances. I literally ruined this movie." He did not ruin the movie. Glenn Powell is now one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, and the role everyone gets when Chris Pratt says no is the role that put him there. Number 12, the night Hidden Figures was hidden again. At the Golden Globes red carpet, NBC correspondent Jenna Bush Hagar walked up to Pharrell Williams, who produced and scored the film, and opened with, "So you're nominated for Hidden Fences." Pharrell's face registered confusion. He said nothing. He let it go. Hidden Fences merged the titles of Hidden Figures and Fences, 2 films with predominantly black casts, both nominated that night. The phrase trended within minutes. Then later that same evening, Presenter Michael Keaton announced Octavia Spencer's nomination from the podium and called it Hidden Fences. Same gaffe, same night, two different people. The night Hidden Figures was supposed to be celebrated, two separate people couldn't keep straight which black film was which. Number 11. The hidden figure hidden from the actress playing her. Taraji P. Henson went to a historically black university, studied engineering, and had no idea Katherine Johnson existed. She hadn't heard of Johnson, Vaughan, or Jackson. When she read the script, she said she was hurt. Not moved, hurt. Because she'd grown up being told that math and science were for boys, and here was proof that women who looked like her had been doing it at the highest level for decades. The woman chosen to tell Katherine Johnson's story to the world was someone that story had been kept from. Number 10. The real bathroom hero hidden from Hidden Figures. On a table in the back of the Langley cafeteria at NASA sat a cardboard sign reading "Colored Computers." Every single day, a woman named Miriam Mann walked in, clocked the sign, put it in her purse, and took it home. They would make a new one. She would take that one too. At some point, the sign went into Miriam Mann's purse and never came back. She hadn't filed a complaint or lobbied for a policy change. She'd just removed the problem every day until there was no problem left. You know the scene in the film where Kevin Costner takes a crowbar to the colored bathroom sign and delivers a speech about how at NASA the bathrooms belong to everyone. The director admitted to Vice News he invented all of it. His explanation: there needs to be white people who do the right thing. So Hollywood handed the moment to a fictional supervisor with a speech and a power tool. Miriam Mann did the actual work with her handbag for years. She doesn't have a line in the film. Number 9. The computer built to replace Dorothy Vaughan made her irreplaceable. In 1949, the head of West Area Computing left, and Vaughan took over the group. She supervised, managed, and advocated for her women's pay and promotions. Naka held her in an acting role for 2 years, waiting for a more acceptable candidate to materialize. She became Naka's first black supervisor and one of its few female supervisors of any race. Nobody said thank you. They just changed her title. Then the IBM 7090 arrived, a machine that filled an entire room and had to be cooled to polar temperatures to keep its vacuum tubes from overheating. Engineers couldn't get it running. Everyone else saw a threat. Vaughan saw an opportunity. She went to the local library, found the only Fortran textbook shelved in the whites-only section, and took it anyway. She taught herself the language after hours, then taught every woman in her division. When the IBM technicians hit a wall, and the machine sat there doing nothing, Vaughan was the one who made it run. When a historian asked her decades later how she'd coped with all of it, she gave 11 words. I changed what I could, and what I couldn't I endured. Number 8. Mary Jackson broke NASA's barrier and then rebuilt the door. Jackson wanted to be an engineer. The only graduate program that would get her there was a night class at Hampton High School, which did not admit black students. She petitioned the city of Hampton for special permission. She won. She showed up. She did the work. In 1958, Mary Jackson became NASA's first black female engineer, and at that point in history, quite possibly the only black female aeronautical engineer working anywhere in the country. She co-authored 12 technical research papers and reached the highest engineering title the agency had available. Then she stopped climbing, not because she ran out of ability, but because she ran out of ceiling. By 1979, she could see that no further promotions were coming. She took a demotion, accepted a pay cut, and moved into Langley's Federal Women's Program, where she redesigned NASA's hiring pipelines from the inside, making sure the door she'd crowbarred open didn't close behind her. 21 years breaking through, 6 years holding it open. Number 7. The crowbar replaced Katherine Johnson's actual courage. Melfi admitted it directly. He invented the crowbar scene. All of it. The walk across campus, the speech. None of that occurred. What actually happened was more defiant. Katherine Johnson simply walked into the nearest restroom and used it regardless of what the sign on the door said. No confrontation, no supervisor, no speech. She just walked in. Hollywood decided that wasn't cinematic enough, so they gave her a savior, a speech, and a power tool. And the audience cried at the scene that replaced the real one. Number 6. Taraji Henson filmed the breakdown while living one. The most powerful scene in the film, Henson's bathroom monologue where Katherine Johnson explains that she runs half a mile to a segregated bathroom every single day in any weather because that's where the bathroom is, was filmed while Henson was managing a real crisis between every take. A loved one was in crisis off-set. Her makeup artist had the phone. Henson was running down the hallway between every take trying to keep this person on the line and work out how to get them help. She was managing that in real time in between takes of a scene about the price of being a Black woman in America. The most celebrated performance of Taraji Henson's career was delivered in pieces between emergencies by someone who was barely in the room. Number 5. The woman NASA kept out became the one John Glenn needed. The IBM computer had calculated Glenn's orbital trajectory. Glenn didn't trust it. He told engineers, "Get the girl to check the numbers. If she says they're good, I'm ready to go." Johnson spent a day and a half rerunning every calculation by hand on a desktop mechanical calculator. The numbers matched. Glenn launched on February 20th, 1962, orbited Earth 3 times, and came home. That same woman had spent years arguing her way into the room where these missions were planned, simply by asking if there was a law against women attending briefings. There wasn't. She started showing up. When Glenn made his request, she was simultaneously the person the astronaut most trusted and the person the institution was least sure should be in the building. Number 4. Hidden Figures beat Star Wars with fewer theaters. Opening weekend, January 2017, Hidden Figures earned $22.8 million from 2,471 theaters. Rogue One earned $22.1 million from 4,157 theaters. Hidden Figures had 1,686 fewer locations and still won. The industry had projected it at 16 to 18 million. The audience was 64% women and 37% African American, two groups Hollywood had spent decades insisting were not reliable box office. Number 3. The Oscar snub proved the movie's point. Hidden Figures received 3 nominations: Best Picture, Best Supporting Actress for Octavia Spencer, and Best Adapted Screenplay. Taraji P. Henson, who is in virtually every scene and carries the emotional weight of the entire film, received nothing. The director theorized the Academy couldn't separate her Empire character Cookie Lion from Katherine Johnson. Henson showed up to the Oscars anyway, telling reporters she was there for the film, not for herself. The film about Black women not getting credit for their work did not get its lead actress any credit for her work. Katherine Johnson attended too, at 98, arriving in a wheelchair. The cast brought her out to present an award. The room stood before she reached the microphone. She leaned in and said 2 words: "Thank you." Number 2. The school system failed her, and her family refused to. Catherine Coleman was born in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia in 1918. The local segregated schools offered education to Black children through the 8th grade only. Catherine finished the 8th grade at 10 years old. Her father packed up the family and drove 120 miles to Institute, West Virginia, so she could attend high school. They moved for her because the county wouldn't. She graduated high school at 14. At West Virginia State, a professor created an entirely new course in analytic geometry of space and offered it to the college specifically for her. She graduated summa cum laude at 18 with degrees in mathematics and French. Number 1. Katherine Johnson's recognition came 33 years late. She worked at NASA for 33 years and retired in 1986. For nearly 3 decades after that, she was simply a retired mathematician in Hampton, Virginia. In 2015, President Obama gave her the Presidential Medal of Freedom. In 2017, NASA named a $23 million research facility after her. She attended the ribbon cutting at 99 and when asked what she thought, laughed and said, "I think they're crazy." When she started at NACA in 1953, her official classification was subprofessional, a category designed to rank her below male engineers regardless of what she was actually doing. She worked for 33 years and received her first public recognition at 97. She wasn't being modest. She genuinely didn't understand what the fuss was. "I liked what I was doing," she told the crowd. "I liked work. I liked the stars and the stories we were telling. Not a hero. Just someone who loved math, and who at 97 was mildly surprised to learn the rest of the world had finally caught up.